I'm New York Nadia, a first-generation Cuban-American writer, actor, artist, and content creator. I'm also the author of Politicate, the People's Guide to Political Discourse in the New Millennium. I served in the U.S. Army as a military intelligence analyst, and am a member of both the Society of Professional Journalists and SAG-AFTRA. I have a degree in International Relations and Economics from Florida International University in Miami. I reside in New York City. I worked in politics for years. I'm neither a Democrat nor a Republican because I know firsthand how this game is played and partisanship is a ruse. I speak truth to power, whoever they may be, and the only side I'm on is that of the American people. For my bio, other content, merchandise, and more, please visit my website at newyorknadia.com. By joining this channel below, you allow me to continue to share my insight with you on this platform. We may not always agree, but I promise I'll never BS you. Welcome to our community. God bless America.
Yeah. And welcome back to the Politics Plus podcast, where we talk about politics plus so much more. Today, I am joined by New York Nadia and Danny.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm your girl Mel. And let's just start this.
Okay, I'd like to bring up, because I feel like New York City is on a downward trend, like spiraling out of control. So The other day there was like a huge, massive protest in the city called "Birds Aren't Real." Okay, and this was
I'm sorry.
an honest pitch, and these people are adamant about this. They're adamant. Their whole deal is that birds are actually drones. And when you poop on your car, it's just a tracking device and all this other, Now, a part of me is like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's funny, right? Like, thank you for the
It is funny.
comedic break, But on the other hand, I feel like people seeing that, like, around the country think New Yorkers are, like, complete morons. Like, what is up? And I would just like to tell everybody, whoever's watching that's not in New York, we're not done with that. Okay, that was maybe 10 people that were doing that. Nobody else here believes in that. Whatever. I don't know, Danny. How do you feel? Are birds real?
So wait, hold up. Sorry to interrupt, Danny. Was this like a legit protest, though?
Well, a legit protest. They were out there. They had kids out there with placards saying like, "Birds aren't real." Kids. Dude, these kids are going to be so effed growing up. So, like, what is up with this? Just like
I know they
getting like transitioned, and their parents are like, "You can be whatever you want." These kids are just as effed, in my opinion. So
there's just more than one type of bird. I know that there's the pigeon, and then there's these little, like these cute little brown birds. Are those birds supposed to be surveillance birds too? Because sometimes I'll feed those birds, right? Not the pigeons.
No,
I would throw like a.
If you try to feed the little birds, the pigeons come and bully them. Have you noticed?
I would throw, I would throw arroz con con, and like those birds eat. So are these the drones that we're talking about? These birds that are eating?
People think that drones eat. I guess there's like really high tech drones that eat. But my question is, like in art from like 1,000 years ago. So how long have drones been on the planet? Or maybe there's some like alien conspiracy.
I want to say it's definitely. I want to say it's definitely a conspiracy, but Mel, I'll let you get in right now. But growing up in the Heights, and like I grew up in Washington Heights, just like Mel, we used to have people, like certain individuals. These like it was a special one person who would go to the roof, cage a bunch of birds. They call it jaulas.
Yeah.
Right? And this one person, sometimes it would be just one guy, one solo guy who just, was from the neighborhood. You saw him here and now and then, but you really used to see him on the top of the roof, controlling the birds.
Why? Inconspicuous. Who's going to think de un viejito?
I know.
It's going to be like a CIA killer spy sending out these killer drones, right? Like, I don't know, bro. But please, for the rest of you, we are not. I don't know what happened there.
We're not affiliated or associated with them. That is a disclaimer that we're saying.
That's a disclaimer. So just getting that right out, because I'm sure somebody will mention it in the comments. Like, hey.
Oh no, she went out to eat.
Yeah. What? Did you, wait. You put us on hold for DoorDash? Are you kidding me?
No, we're not in Cuba or in Santo Domingo, okay?
Yeah, word.
I'll give you that much.
I'll
give you that much. You're still in the Heights.
That's right. In the Heights forever. So, as I was saying, I did see something that was a little bit disturbing. I was walking toward the L. I went down on the A to 14th,
Mm-hmm.
A and 8, and then I'm walking down to the L, and there's all these like, there's this like new Vans, promotion going on, whatever, and they had like the same girl doing all these poses and like Vans forever and whatever, and then one of them, somebody tagged it and wrote something. Now, do you want me to show you what it is? Do you want me to tell you what it is?
No, you could do both.
You could do both. You could show us and tell us.
I'm going to show you, and then we can talk about this, because I think that, again, a lot of people don't realize how sick and tired of this BS New Yorkers truly are, and I think New Yorkers have hit a plateau of how much crap they're willing to take, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh my gosh.
Okay, so is that somebody who resembles Eric Adams, or is that Eric Adams?
that's not Eric Adams, that's a girl.
Oh, this is like
but it says, well,
this is like an artsy thing that somebody did that obviously hired that model and spray painted those words in the back.
The model is just modeling Vans. Vans is
the sneakers,
advertising it, and somebody just tagged this on it.
So this was on the subway. Okay,
Right.
for our followers who don't know that New York City. So when you go into the subway, there's a whole bunch of like advertisements, and in New York City, we have artists, or what are they called? Graffiti tigers. They'll just write whatever or draw whatever. So in this particular,
I think.
Yeah, but for our followers and listeners who don't know what a tigre is, we have to tell them is either a bored kid or a bored adult who's just looking for some way to entertain. So in this particular picture, it was a model modeling the Vans, and they wrote a
lot of time would say political stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and that's
that is true.
Kind of like what Banksy does, but we don't have our own Banksy yet, but. They will put out, but when I read that, I was like, yo, because it's...
So pretty much what it said was, kill Eric Adams.
Right.
So for those who, can't see it, they can hear what it said. I am not seeing it. That's what the advertisement said.
That's what the graffiti said.
The graffiti, yeah.
So... here's the thing. Eric Adams, for those who don't know, is our quote-unquote mayor. He used to be part of the police department, and he was there for years, and then he ran for mayor, and he got elected, and then that was it. He got elected, and he started going to galas and parties and hanging out with people and all like a princess. He's a diva. He's all about it. Now, before he got in there were a lot of questions because, first of all, and people have said, and I think that there's enough proof, but yet nothing gets done. Just like when Bill de Blasio was in office and his wife had some sort of charity or something. She got $8.5 million and the money
that went missing. Yeah.
It's missing, right? And so nobody's
still missing
anything about that. Nobody's ever prosecuted her. Nobody's ever investigated her. It's complete bullshit. And so just very much the same way, Eric Adams, there were a lot of questions about him. Like, for example, he lives in Jersey. His son lives in Brooklyn. He uses his son's address as a mailing address. But there's enough proof that he doesn't live even here. And yet, there he is, right?
Yep.
There were videos of him when he was a cop. He was up in there. I don't know what his position was, but he was speaking to a group of black cops, and he said, you should have seen those honkies, and they were doing, and I'm like, what? How is this person video of him talking? And he didn't hide anything. It was him. It was definitely him. And he said all this racist bullshit, and he doesn't get reprimanded for that, and now he becomes the mayor, right? So he doesn't do his fucking job. This place is going down in flames. This is how bad it is in New York City right now, that even liberals are drinking, like, have red pilled. Okay, even hardcore liberals have red pilled, because the homeless situation here it's
outrageous.
I mean, it's like you don't even know what to expect. Me personally, like, I'm always armed. I don't really care. Like, I will get out anywhere. If I see a crazy person, like, the other day I had a situation with this one guy, and he was acting up, and I was like, whatever. You know, if I stand next to him, nobody's going to bother me because nobody wants him to bother them, so I'm probably better here. Yeah. And so then he, said something to me, and then he drops his pen. And I'm like, you drop your pen? He's like, no, ma'am. You made me drop my pen. Beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, stop. Well, we get into this conversation, and girl, this man is Cuban. Hello.
Oh my God, your people.
My peoples, right?
Yep.
And I'm people. Like, so now we're talking like Spanish, because at first it was straight English, no accent.
Yeah.
And now we're talking Spanish. I was like, mi gente. I was like, pero ven acá. You know? And so we're talking. Anyways, it ended up being super cool, you know? Mm-hmm. But that's like a nice, crazy person. There are other ones that are fucking dangerous.
Like those who keep pushing people on the train tracks?
Something like that. So, you know? And where is Eric Adams? Where the fuck is the mayor?
So I'm wondering now, since whoever wrote this, like, you know, obviously Eric Adams has made a big splash recently regarding the migrants. Yeah. You know, there was a sudden influx. Everybody went crazy. Oh, why all these migrants being, you know, coming to the sanctuary city when actually that's what sanctuary cities are for.
Yeah.
But also,
but now he declared a state of emergency.
No, emergency this. You want them. Why should states like Florida pay, right, for New York City or wherever, California, to say, oh, state of emergency? This is all a scam. This is all a money-making scam.
Yeah.
No state of emergency for you. You are a sanctuary city.
He welcomed them on public TV. He was like, we welcome you to come here. He begged for them. So, and now he got a dose of his medicine. They came here.
I don't know if you remember, too, Adams was a registered Republican early on. I believe in 2001. He left.
You mean he was a rhino?
He left the no, I think it was 1997. And then he switched back to the Democratic Party in 2001. But, you know, Adams also made a big splash because back then when he was supporting David Dinkins, he made like he made a racial insult to someone who was running for the the New York State comptroller. I think his name was Herman Baldillo. And then Adams said that if Baldillo was really, you know, because obviously Herman Badillo was coming up. He wanted to, you know, do something about the Hispanic community and help, bring the Hispanic community up. Mm-hmm. He told him Badillo was married to a Jewish woman at the time. And Eric Adams was like, listen, if you really want to help out your community, you would marry a Puerto Rican and not a Jewish person. So I'm just throwing these things out there because New York Nadia just showed us a picture of a model, and in the background it said "kill Major." Like who in their right mind would think of doing something like that? I mean, I believe in free speech, but you look at Eric Adams' history, like there's a multitude of suspects that could, that could be a multitude of suspects. Right.
Regardless of anything, you know what I mean? His record of public service, supposedly, you're a cop, you're going to make enemies, regardless.
Of course.
The majority of the cops, I feel like, are good people. They do a job that's very difficult and they get paid shit money. Okay? Mm-hmm. And there are also cops that do a lot of dirty shit because they don't get
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
It would not shock or amaze me to find out that Eric Adams was involved in some shit. Just the fact that the things that come out of his mouth came out of his mouth in a public forum, and he felt empowered to say those things. Like, I can say this because I know where the bodies are buried, and no one's
right.
Period.
But in that same sense, okay, in that same sense, Nadia and Mel, so crime has gone through the roof in the last year or two. What if whoever wrote "Kill Eric Adams" was a family member of one of the people that just got thrown in the subway, stabbed?
Well, you know what? At this point, I don't blame whoever wrote that. They're just stating their feelings, and it's not only the feelings of one person; it's the feeling of a lot of New Yorkers who feel frustrated.
The frustration has been building. De Blasio was a horrific mayor.
Oh my gosh!
Horrific. Yeah. Him and his wife and his weird ass fucking kids, all of them, horrific fucking situation.
They did nothing good for the city.
Voted for a communist, a full out communist.
I know.
That's such a beta cuck. I mean, marries a black lesbian? She's a lesbian. She's a self-declared lesbian. And you're a man and you're marrying her. You're a cuck, bro. You're a cuck. How are you going to, and then your kids are all fucked up and they're on drugs and this and that. You're going to tell the rest of us how to fucking, you can't even keep your own house in order.
Yeah.
Bro, check your house. You feel me? Check your house, and then maybe. That guy should have never. But of course, we're in New York, and there's a strong presence of people here, I'll just say it that way, who would love nothing more than to push communism because they're afraid of living in a world where they might actually get brought up for the bullshit that they do. And they feel that they can hide behind certain shit. Okay, and I've been saying this for quite some time. There is a group of people that are using another group of people as what is called a canary in the mine. Back in the day, when mining was a big thing, right? Mm-hmm. The gases, the toxic gases would come out. You couldn't smell them. It was too late. By the time the miners, realized what was happening, they were dropping dead. So they bring a canary into the mine with them. And once the canary dropped dead, they knew they had to dip, right? And there's a group of people that use another group of people in the same way. They put them up front and center, right? They say, this is happening to them and they're oppressed and yada, yada, and this and that. You know why they do that? To see the reaction.
So something, Nadia.
Exactly. If the public buys that and that group buys it too, and they take on that mantle, then they're still okay. They're still, nobody's noticing them. They're still okay.
Mm-hmm. So you're using
they know they're next.
You're using that canary. You're using that canary in a coal mine expression as kind of like an early warning. Like, people see something bad is about to happen. It's kind of like a warning sign, right?
Right, but they don't. Their warning sign is using another group.
Yeah,
they push that this group is oppressed. This group is special. This group cannot be criticized. This group cannot be. You can't say why the fuck are these people acting this way? No, because then you're a racist, right? And that's their canary in the mine. If you fall into that, if you accept that, then they feel like, okay, then I'm safe. Because as long as people are thinking like that, they're not going to question me. They're not going to judge me. They're not going to bring shit up. But that's
they don't have anything on them pretty much because it's not them. It's someone else. They have it's a fallback person.
It's not a scapegoat. It's like a protection. Like if you don't notice, if you don't have the balls to call out this group for what they're doing, you're not going to have the balls to call me out either. So I'm going to test it out with them first and see how you react. But that shit is breaking down. I saw a TikTok today, and this chick had gone to see The Woman King. Did you guys know about this movie?
I heard about it, but I'm not seeing it. Supposedly,
it's getting great reviews. I think Rotten Tomatoes. Movie. I think Rotten Tomatoes was on the radar. It was some controversy with Rotten Tomatoes because they gave it this outstanding score when the movie didn't even prove to be that good or as well as its.
You know why they're doing that? Because of what I just said. But that's not working in this community anymore because many Black Americans refuse to be victims. They refuse to be used in this manner, right? So this chick got on TikTok and she said, you know what? I don't even know, woman king is called a queen, first of all.
Yeah.
That's, hello, number one. Number two, the woman that is portrayed in that film was actually a slave raider. She was a woman king who would sell her own people. She would go into different tribes and see who was fit to be traded so that they could make the money. This is historical knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so then this thing is like, how in the fuck are you gonna like promote a movie or say this movie was so great without taking into account that the repercussions of that was slavery, like massive slavery all around the world, not just in the U.S. Everybody loves to make it like, oh, the U.S. We're the only ones.
No, everybody else had slaves too.
Exactly. And different people were slaves at different times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the truth about African slaves is that they were slaved by their own kings and queens.
Yes.
And that's what the movie shows you. But instead of telling you like that lady, what she did was horrible, they make it, look how strong.
They glorified it.
They glorified it without even mentioning, because that is, again, Mel, the canary in the mine. If you know in history, if you as an intelligent adult knowing history can watch that movie and you don't dare criticize it, then they know they're safe. But that shit is breaking down.
But in reality, that's not what happened. What happened was, like you said, slavery. It started in Africa with their own people. Heaven forbid we mention that, though. Heaven forbid, because it's only when the white man took over. No. And if we want to get technical and correct, a lot of white men were married. They were legally married to these Black females. But hey, we can't mention that, right?
Well, people are mentioning it. You have to mention
about time, but before it was taboo.
Well, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, you can't get canceled unless you fucking agree to that. You got to agree to that. You can't, if somebody says something to you like, oh, you can't say that. Yeah, the fuck I can. And I just did what? That is the proper answer. And it is something like, for example, at work, because I had somebody, talk to me on the subway and they were like, thank you for what you do, because a lot of us are afraid. I said, if you are afraid for your job, for speaking, for what you do in your private life, you're not harming anyone, then you need to go to HR. You need to get a fucking lawyer. And you need to fucking lawyer up and
lawyer up.
You need to fucking fight back. And that's the end of the story. Everybody can't put their tail up their ass between their legs.
No, you're absolutely right.
Sadly, that's what's happening in society today. It's like people would rather stay shut. People would rather not say anything, just so they won't go down that road of having to be confronted, or why did you say that, or what did you mean? There's a lot of celebrities now in Hollywood that, they're pulling tweets from like 10, 15 years ago just to stir the pot and be like, yo, what they said was 10 years ago. It has no relevancy. When it was okay
with society. That was the thing. Back then, everybody made jokes. Nowadays, they're apologizing for it.
Fucking bullshit.
It is. They shouldn't. You said what you said because you meant it at that moment. And it was funny.
Yeah, but
especially when it comes to comedy, there should be zero
apologies.
Yes.
That is it.
I know.
Change the channel, switch. You don't gotta watch it.
Exactly.
The whole fucking narrative of the universe, because you are offended personally.
Yeah.
This kid, he was 19 years old. He's like, I forgot his name right now, or else I would tell you the handle, but he's like some type of leader organization, some bullshit in Florida, right? So when Florida passed that, like, you can't talk about being fucking gay to right? And he got up there and he has this whole thing on his Instagram where he said, and it's not fair and this and that. He's fucking 19. Now he pipes up on my TikTok. Oh, the things that you say put people in me like danger. in danger. You know, you
No, it fucking doesn't. No, it does not. It does not.
How does it put him in danger?
First of all,
agree with me. You're not in danger. Okay.
first of all, you're not instructing anyone to go do harm. You're making jokes. We're making funnies. Listen, believe it or not, just because you're offended does not mean you're right.
Exactly.
It's one thing if Nadia, if you're up there and you're telling jokes. It's another thing if you're saying, listen, when you see a gay person, punch him in the face. Those are two different things.
Bro, even if I said that, it's just words, bro. What the fuck? What if I tell you to jump off a cliff? Are you gonna do that? I mean, do you guys remember your mom telling you that? Because I do. You were little, you were like, well, my friends are doing it. Well, if your friends jump off a cliff, are you gonna jump?
Are you gonna do it? Yeah.
Like, what is the common sense going on? What the fuck is going on now? Where is the common sense? Even if I told you that, specifically told you that, you could be like, nah, I'm good.
Exactly. But you know what? This is what happens when you have a society full of sensitive, broken people.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, they grew up with parents that gave them participation trophies. So now they're like, what?
Not in my house.
The best thing ever? What? What? I'm not special? Nah, bitch, you're not. You never were. Now, if you want to be special, you better do something in
You better earn it.
You
better
don't
work for it.
You don't get a cookie.
No.
No gold star for you. You got to earn that shit. They don't understand that. They weren't raised with that. They don't understand it. You know, it's all news to them. But I get it with that kid who's 19 because obviously his parents are like MIA. But I don't get it as much with older people, older Americans, 30s, 40s, still on this bullshit. Like, bro, come on. You know what I mean? Like, do you not see what's going on around you? Do you not?
Because they want to be part of the group that's trending, and they don't want to be wrong, and they don't want to be seen different. They don't want to get treated different. At this point, it doesn't matter. I'd rather somebody be absolutely blunt with me and tell me, you know what, I don't like you for what you're saying. And I'm like, okay, thank you. I did my job. That's how I take it as opposed to somebody, you know, saying, you know what, sweetie, and going around the bush. That aggravates me. Just, if you don't like what I'm saying, either ignore me.
Like,
exactly.
Do you guys remember?
That's the part. Like, they think that what they're going to tell you is so important and carries so much weight.
I know.
Like, who the fuck are you?
Does this
They have like 100 followers, and I'm like, okay, like.
Are there still places like I don't know, I read about this like 2 or 3 years ago in colleges. There were things called safe spaces. You know, it was intended to be free of bias, conflict, criticism, potentially threatening actions. Does that stuff still exist? Like, you know,
but whoever came up with that, you know what I mean? It's like they
was sensitive.
Take kids into this when they're young.
Man.
Expect certain behavior from the world, right? Instead of like the way when I was growing up, I mean, it was rough. We didn't use seatbelts. We didn't have
no car seats.
Oh shit!
You know, you a helmet and the knee pads and the elbow. No, you rode out on your bike, and if you got fucked up, you got fucked up.
Yeah, you got fucked up. You
learned your lesson.
You lost a couple of teeth. Hey, that was a good day.
Hey, you know what I mean? And your parents are like, "Well, you lost the teeth. Now, when you work, where you can work, you could pay for the new ones." Yeah,
yep.
And that teaches you the value of teeth. You feel me?
It
teaches you the value of teeth. That's great.
Now go get a veneer.
That'll teach you.
Te jodiste los dientes.
We went outside all day long. Nobody gave a shit. Outside all day long in the summer. When the light turned on at night, you came back home. That was the end of that. We had a neighbor who practically grew up in my house because her mom was a divorcee. And at the time, that was like a thing, right? Like, you know, Elizabeth's mom's a divorcee. You know, there's no father in the house. And then her older sister was in college already. And, you know, she was so beautiful. Oh, my God. Like, her hair, she was just like such a, I guess for the time. So me and Elizabeth were like, oh my God, she's like a goddess. Every time she came to the house, we were like, you know, but there was no man there. So her mom worked 2 jobs. So a lot of the time Elizabeth would be at our house, but she was what was known then as a key latch kid. You know, like she came home from school, opened up the door. She had to take care of herself and whatever.
Wow.
Well, what? Like it got done. You know, the neighbors pulled together. Everything was fine. The end of the story. Now it's like, if people, some of these people, I swear to God, they could put a chip in their kids just so they can watch them 24/7.
They would.
And helicopter them. Yeah, they would.
They
would.
And
then what happens? These kids grow up and they can't survive. They can't survive in the fucking world.
Yeah, man.
Either they can't survive or they rebel in such a way that you're like, well, I didn't teach my kid that. Well, did you teach your kid anything besides hovering over them?
So there's a movie that, in case you guys haven't seen, I highly recommend it. It's called We Need to Talk About Kevin. Have you guys seen this?
I've seen that movie.
No.
Ezra Miller was amazing, almost scary, so real life, and really sad to see the woman who played his mom. She was struggling with that boy from birth.
Wow.
It's a really great movie. Yeah, I saw that movie.
It's an excellent movie, but it does talk about how parents know, right? And I don't give a shit.
Oh, believe me, she knew. She knew.
All the parents fucking know, bro. Every time there's a school shooting or there's some fucking pedophile bullshit, whatever. Look what happened with Kane, with that fighter Kane, right? He found out that his son had been molested over 100 times at the daycare center.
Wow.
By the daycare center's son. You're going to tell me that those parents didn't know good and well that their son was a pedophile? Of course they did. Of course they fucking did. There's no way. There's no way. You're not going to convince me in a million years because...
No, I agree. I agree.
You know when your kid is fucked up. You know when your uncle's fucked up. You know when your father's...
But that is also called denial.
The what?
It's called denial as well because... Again, I'm not saying that that's the type of parent I am, but there are parents who, my kid would never. Yeah, your kid does. No, my kid would never do that. He doesn't do that at home. Okay. My thing is, are you there at home with him? No.
Bro, you know when your kids are fucking weird, bro. When you know your kids are fucking weird. They're doing weird shit. They're not acting normal.
If you're a good parent, yes, you do know.
Even if you're a bad one, you know.
Even if you're a bad one, you would know because you can tell just by talking to your kid. Just for 5 minutes talking to your kid, whether, like Nadia said, whether you're a good parent or a bad parent, you can tell, hey, my kid is okay or my kid is fucked up.
In denial that they don't admit that their kids are that bad, so they will pretend.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do, right? When I become the overlord of the United States, what we're gonna do is
wait. You aren't that already, so why are you on the show?
It's not out there. I gotta promote that.
Okay.
So this is my platform. I'm gonna start my platform. What I'm running on. Okay.
Okay.
If you have a minor child and that minor child shoots up a fucking school, you're going to prison. You're going to prison for neglect. Period.
Okay. Period. That's awesome.
And Mel, I fucking guarantee you will see the drop in these type of cases. You know why? Because when the parents know that they're going to be held responsible, then they're going to be...
Oh, because now they have to parent. That's what it is. So right now they're just taking this as, well, I don't have to do anything right now. There's no consequences.
Well, not only parent, but if Nadia does propose that and that comes to fruition, parents are going to have to make sure their kids are waking up on time, doing their homework, going to school, behaving like stand-up citizens.
Yes. Very upstanding citizens. If you can't produce that, don't have kids. But if you already have them, get with the program. Because guess what? You're going to prison. If that kid does anything, you're going to prison. You're going to prison. That's it.
By all means, that should have been a rule a long time ago. That should have been a law. But no, you know what ends up happening? It's called, oh, you can go to Planned Parenthood if you don't want to be a parent right now.
Bro, I'm all about choice. Here are your choices. Condoms, pills, IUD.
Yep.
Bro, what? Vasectomy, hysterectomy.
Team negligence.
Bro, do what you gotta do. And I have, like, listen, the year is 2022 still. Okay? In 2022, there are over 300 different types of birth control methods on the market right now.
Yeah, I don't.
But this is why I don't understand.
They keep pushing abortion is because they use those fetuses for all sorts of shit.
Yeah,
yes, they do. They do.
Moneymaker, and that's it. Go have an abortion. Of course, they're gonna push abortion, and all these women are so fucking stupid that they go ahead and they do this shit. Like, you could have just avoided it. Even what about rape? What about rape? You go to the fucking emergency room, they give you Plan B. That's like the first thing they do. They give you
I know.
Right there, and then
even if you're not conscious, they'll still shove it in you.
They will.
No, that's part of the triage.
It's part of the triage.
What's wrong with these women? What's wrong with these women not taking Plan B right after they have sex? What I don't understand that.
Okay, funny story. So I have a friend, a guy, who has Plan B in his night table.
I like this guy. This guy tiene cabeza.
You're on another, you're fucked up, bro. He's like, nah, man. Like, I'm gonna make sure. You ain't leaving here until you swallow that shit. I want it. Here's the water.
Hey, let me check your throat. Let me check under the tongue.
Hey. Listen, I'd rather somebody like that than just having babies galore, being fatherless homes. I'd rather somebody like that who's going to say, you know what? We're going to do our thing, but me and you are not fit to have a child or bring a child. Vamos a acabar de eso. And my wife always said it. People who want kids, they need to take out a license. Just like you get a driver's license, just like you get a gun's license, you need a license.
Some of these people should not have kids.
Well, it should be like opening up a business. You have to show records. You got the money, you got the finances, you feel me?
Right.
Like,
I don't know, like back in the day when my parents got married, I don't know if it was the same for you guys, but they had to go through like a rigorous thing. And I'm not talking about church. I'm talking about you have to show your birth certificate. yeah, that. But before you got married, you had to show all this paperwork. And nowadays, okay, here, bada bing, bada boom, you're married. That's it. Like there was a regimen to follow. Now it's like you can marry whoever, whatever, whomever.
Yep, I know because that's how I got married. We went down to City Hall. We paid $35. Married. Married. You feel me? It lasted 10 years. It was all good. Here's another funny story. So now he's my ex-husband, but we got along great. It was a very prosperous marriage. We made a great team, and we both like brought the other up, and we accomplished a lot. But it was 10 years, and at the end of the 10 years, okay, now we wanted different things. Had nothing to do with other people. It was just like different life, what he wanted to do versus what I wanted to do. So we go to the courthouse, and so like we're all like, oh, okay, whatever. And then we have to go through the security gate, right? The security guard there, this lady, she's like, oh, look at you two lovebirds, so cute. So he says, guess what we're here to do? She's like, we're here to get married. He's like, nah, we're here to get divorced. Like, what? She's like, I guess sometimes it takes a divorce. And I go, that's right. That is absolutely right. But it was quick, snap, snip, whatever, like Vegas. And it's true. Where is the proof? I would have loved if somebody had said, are you sure? Let's look at his financials. Let's look. And that would have been.
But see, I think we need to do that for parenting as well. We need to bring that old way of thinking back, because it would avoid a lot of stuff.
A lot of shit.
Yeah,
I think
that's the one thing on my platform. Parents are going away. Minor kids commit a crime. You're going to prison. The end.
Perfect.
Listen,
I'll vote for that.
listen,
Period in the end.
I'm all for separation of church and state. But Nadia, you mentioned something about communism and trying to bring, communism to the forefront. It's 2022. We're going on to 2023. I think something that's very vital that's been missing in all this, we're talking about abortions, we're talking about marriage. Where's God in all this picture? We want to live our lives.
The people took him away.
We want to live our lives. We don't want God to be involved in our lives. We want to do what we want to do. Whether you're a liberal, whether a Democrat or some Republicans say that they're really religious. BS. A lot of them want to live separate from God. Either that or they're hypocrites. But God has been taken out of the equation. Yep. And I think that's a big problem.
That is a big fucking problem. Like, I'm a Catholic. I'm 100% Catholic. Like, I've studied Buddhism. I have practiced Buddhism.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, Buddhism is a practice. People are like, oh, that's a religion. It's not. It's definitely a practice.
Is it Siddhartha? What is his name? The Buddhist Siddhartha. Is that his name? Siddhartha? I forget.
Who calls him Buddha?
Okay. Sorry, I was trying to get fancy there, but yeah. So you're a Buddhist, or did you study Buddha?
She studied.
Practice Buddhism. So
good for you.
Buddhism is a practice. It's like jogging. You know what I mean? It's like any practice, something that you do, right? And it's a belief system that is very akin to Christianity in a lot of ways. A lot of the things that Jesus taught is rooted in Buddhism, and so understanding one is like understanding the other, and it is very empowering practice, absolutely empowering. Like, for people that have a difficult time with like death or understanding the nature of life or like understanding detachment. A lot of people get attached to, it's human nature, right? And so a lot of our fears come because we know that we will lose. We will lose our very lives, number one. We will lose people that we love. That's always a danger, right? And for a lot of people, especially for parents, it's like you can't get that shit out of your head no matter how hard you try. Because it's in your DNA to worry about your children, their health, make sure that they're okay, whatever. So Buddhism is a practice that helps you like understand these things. There's a lot of shit that I've gone through in life that I would not have been able to without that practice. Because although my faith, yes, is in God and is in Christ, that goes together with it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all, I can't really, like, you guys have to look into it. There's many different types of Buddhism. There's Zen Buddhism. There's many different types, but it's very empowering and it helps a lot of people understand like where their problems are coming from. And usually it comes down to a fear of loss, right? This fear of loss can cause you to be gluttonous, can cause you to be overweight. You say, how can that be? Those things don't go together. Yes, because most of the time when people are afraid that they're not going to get a next meal, say, for example, people that were around as children during the Depression, right? They suffered a great amount of loss, a lot of stark loss. And so they grow up, a lot of them, to be hoarders and to teach their kids to hoard and to teach their kids, like, take more because it may not come again. You understand? And so these are it's all a loss of love, a loss of like people around you. Even Mel, what you said, they just want to be in the in crowd. Yes, because they don't want to lose that feeling that they belong, that they're safe, that they're this, that they're that, the safe spaces that you talked about, Danny, earlier, and not the kids, because the kids don't know any better, but the parents, the adults.
Yeah.
The fear that they could lose their kids. Yeah, bitch, that's fucking life. That is fucking life. We all run that risk every single fucking day. What happened with 2020 and everybody freaking the fuck out, and I didn't, honestly, like, because of my work for the military and having been here during 9/11, I was like, New Yorkers are never going to fall for this bullshit, this really sloppy work, sloppy work. New Yorkers will never, ever fucking fall for this shit. And when I saw that happening, I was like, dude, this shit is real. Like 20 years of mind fuckery has gotten New Yorkers so weak that they're literally believing this bullshit, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, fine. But all of that comes from fear of dying, fear of losing, fear of this. And I'm like, I knew in second grade that I could die. That
Yeah.
was something that we were taught. Like, yes, you have to appreciate life because everyone dies, everything dies, and you have to learn to appreciate that. That is the reality. And so from a very young age, I understood that. As a teenager, I lost many friends. I lost people my own age, a lot of them. So I always knew that that was something that, but apparently until 2020, nobody really fucking realized that they could die. This has been like a shocker for everyone, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that going back to what you said, Danny, it is that loss of spirituality, that loss, that void. There's a massive fucking void. And people have nothing to cling to, not a fucking thing. You know, whether their parents taught them or they rebelled or, you know, their other friends or whatever the case may be. But there's definitely been a systemic breakdown of faith, right?
Yeah.
By mocking
absolutely.
religion. And I'm going to say it right now, as a Christian, if you think about like Jews cannot be ever criticized for shit. That is just the fucking reality. You can't criticize a Jewish person for shit.
Kanye would disagree with you.
Love Kanye. Right? Muslims got their shit together and they were like, yeah, you know, we don't want to be criticized either. Like, you guys need to get off our back. Fine. But
and nobody criticizes them.
Why is it that Christians allow themselves to get raked through the fucking coals, to get made fun of, mocked, this, that, and the other? No, we are the fucking majority. Act like it. Fucking act like it. If you don't like it, you know what? There was a bill passed here. Remember when there was that shooting, fake fucking red flag shooting in the false flag shooting in the subway? Nobody died. And some people were like, yeah, look at this bag of blood that they left behind, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That whole thing came up, right? And people were like, oh, you know, yeah, that happened because this, that, and the other. And, you know, people are fed up. And that's true. People are fucking fed up. And that's absolutely true. But it's also a lot of false flag bullshit going on, right? And now you have these situations where people are getting bombarded all the time with, like, new tragedies. They did it with the COVID bullshit. That shit didn't. Let me explain something to you about PSYOPs, okay? Which is psychological operations. Psychological operations work for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, let's say you have an election coming up, and you know, all countries do this. In the United States of America, it was illegal to run PSYOPs operations on Americans until Obama came into office and he signed that away. Okay? Nobody likes to talk about that shit either. So,
because he was a great president. What's wrong with you?
I must be a racist because
you're clearly a racist.
Exactly, clearly a racist. So, you know, he did like this whole thing and whatever, and now it's completely fine. So PSYOPs works when, let's say, you have an election coming up, right? Or some fucking, what do you call it? Like a scandal is going to come out, right? So you do something to distract. Boom. One day, maybe a month, right? You can't sustain that shit because it stops working. If you sustain it, it stops fucking working. And that's what happened with this. This could have worked had they left it on the 2-week, flatten the curve, and maybe to the month. And then they could have done another psychological operation and everybody would have been like, oh my God. But because they got so greedy, they made so fucking much money for big pharma. They lost the fucking narrative thread of do not do this shit for too long.
Not only that, there was too many people in the same pot trying to do the same thing over and over. That's where it lost steam.
And it lost steam when they started censoring everyone. How is it, okay, because if this is a for real thing, right? Because I remember 9/11, there were people everywhere criticizing it, looking into it, the documentaries, questioning it. How did it happen? How do 2 fucking massive big buildings come down, but you found the black box? Where
and
did you
passports.
find the black box?
And passports.
Where did you find the fucking passports? How the fuck is that even possible?
Intact.
Exactly.
Passport was intact.
Nothing. Yep.
And at the time, I remember thinking like, that doesn't sound right. But the terror was so great then nobody
Yeah.
could shoot shit. And so Bush came along and said, "Oh, Patriot Act," and then there I was like,
Yep.
Fuck
Yep.
and they signed that shit into law, and they made it okay to do mass surveillance. And then Obama comes along and he says it's okay to do the psyops thing.
Yeah, reinforces it.
Yep.
Reinforces it. When the fucking Patriot Act, which was about to expire on Obama's term, and I obviously did not vote for Obama, right? But I said to myself, you know what, silver lining, he's a Democrat. Clearly, this is like a fucking ridiculous law that should have never been passed. He's going to let it go. But fuck no, he did not. He signed it back and he added a clause that Americans can be drone stricken without a day in court if they are considered to be terrorists. So you could be on vacation in fucking Bali and they say Mel is a terrorist and they can fucking drone strike you without a day in court without proving shit because now Obama signed that in. What world are we fucking living in? What the fuck world? So when this subway shit happened over here, right? Kathy Hochul and her fucking little friend, I forgot the fucking woman's name now, and they did like, oh, and also we're passing a law that's going to be anti online hate, whatever. What the fuck does that even mean? And against, it's going to protect Jews and Muslims.
Okay.
And Christians?
How about us?
You can go after us? I said, nah. If it doesn't cover everyone, it doesn't cover anyone. And if you think that's how it's going to work, I'll see you in fucking court. We'll take it to the fucking law. I don't give a damn. There are plenty of good lawyers here that will be more than happy to be in the front page of the New York Times, taking your ass to court and taking it all the way up to the Supreme Court. You cannot discriminate and say that there are two protected classes, but everybody else can go fuck themselves. Can't do that.
So, Nadia, let me ask you a question. Why do you think Christians are targeted as much? I mean, you brought up a good point. Like, pretty much when they design these laws or these bylaws, or they're, trying to look out for a group of people, Jews are at the forefront, Muslims are at the forefront. It seems like Christians are always, not protected.
Because we let it happen. We are the fucking majority, Danny. What is up with everybody acting like, look, I'm proud to be Catholic. I am fucking proud. When people say, oh, but, Catholicism and the priests and this, fuck yeah. If I had the power, I would have taken every single one of those priests and I would have hung them in the public square. Absolutely. I am not covering up for the pedophilia that happens and the Pope that allowed it to happen.
Absolutely.
That's not about the Pope and the fucking pedophiles within the Catholic Church. What I am about is my history, my family's history, right? Catholicism was able to go into the world, okay? It was Catholicism that went into the world to discover new lands, to do this, to do that, to create empires. And when people say like, oh, colonialism or whatever the fuck, or you guys went in imperialism, whatever, yeah, you're welcome. Because guess what? Before Spain went in there, you guys were swinging off the vine and living in teepee huts. So you're welcome. You're fucking welcome.
Yeah, but you know what?
You got fucking.
I have a problem with that because I'm a Christ follower. I know Mel is as well, and I'm not gonna. I'm so against the pedophilia that happened with priests. With young kids. Absolutely, hang them in the square. I'd be the one there, hanging them as well. But you know what? It's not fair to judge a religion like Christianity on the Crusades, on the Salem witch trials, on slavery, because we know a lot of KK individuals have misinterpreted Jesus Christ to induce slavery. But if I say to you, listen, I don't believe in Islam and I don't believe in Muslims because of what they did on 9/11. That I'd be a narrow-minded bigot. Wait. I'd be a narrow-minded bigot if I tell you that I'm not Islamic or I don't follow the Muslim tradition because of what those a-holes did on 9/11. I'd be a narrow-minded bigot. So now let's flip that. Same with Christianity. Just because a couple of priests or a whole group of priests abused children, it's not right. That tells you nothing about who Jesus Christ was.
At all.
Period.
At all.
But that's like the same thing when it comes to teachers. There are some good teachers and then there's some bad teachers. Same thing with doctors.
Same thing with cops.
Yeah, same thing with cops.
Same thing with content creators. Same thing.
Yes.
With,
We can go on and on and on. Same thing with lawyers. I mean, there is always going to be a group of people.
Cast the first stone, Mel. And that's it. That's why Jesus, no matter what, Christ is the epitome, because he just laid it out. Like, very simple.
Yeah.
If you're without sin, you go first. I'm not telling you not to do it.
But this is
yourself.
This is one thing that, as a Christian, as a follower of Christ, and this is something when Christ was here for his 33 years, he preached, and it's something that we all have something to look forward to, is everlasting life. We go through life right now through pain, through stress. There's things that don't go our way. Sometimes, things work out. But Jesus Christ promised us eternal life. Not in this body. It was a spiritual.
Yeah.
A spiritual thing where you're going to be with Jesus. You're going to be with your loved ones. You're going to be in the presence of God, loving and caring for everyone. So as a Christian, I hold that very dear. One other thing.
Sorry. The other thing is like, again, when people, besides Christians letting it happen to them, the reason why I think that they attack Christianity is because they know the truth and they don't want the truth out there. They don't want to get reprimanded for the wrongs that they're doing. And that is the problem we have with society.
Amen. That is right. That is why it is attacked, because it is the truth. And those who do not live in a healthy, noble, dignified way, the last thing they want is to turn on the lights.
Yeah.
You turn on the lights at 2 a.m. in your kitchen in New York City, the roaches are like, why?
Exactly.
Why? So, there's a very famous quote, and I forgot right now who said it, but he said, what can be destroyed by the truth should be. Period. If what I'm telling you, in your gut, in your heart that what I'm saying, it is the truth. The truth doesn't need to be defended. The truth, it just simply is. You don't want to hear it, so you want to shut it down. That's cool. Yeah. But it doesn't change the truth. The truth is the truth. And so far as like Christ having like all bangers all the time, Christ had them. He had them. Whatever the situation was, whatever, when they were like, oh, it's the Sabbath, you're not supposed to be doing that. And he's like, no, I came with a new rule. This is the new covenant. You don't tell me not to do this. This is the new rule. That's another thing that, we can talk about this for days, but a lot of people get it really mixed up when it comes to like the Abrahamic religions, like Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. They're not interchangeable. Not at all. Oh, but Jesus was a Jew until he was Christ. That's like Siddhartha was Siddhartha until he was the Buddha. Right. Changes. But it's not the same thing. It is not. It is not. And, this whole thing like, oh, America was founded on Judeo-Christian. But Judeo-Christian is not even a thing. It's not even a term. It's a term that was used to describe specifically Jews that had converted to Christianity. That's it. Okay, there was no Jews founding this country. There were Christians, period. And it's time for Christians to start acting like the fucking majority and to stand up. And I hear a lot of Christians say two things that really fucking bothers me. Number one, oh, Jesus said to turn the other cheek. Do you know what it means to turn the other cheek? That means that you have to stand up and face the fucking aggressor. That's what turn the other cheek means. Because Jesus didn't say, run. No. He said, turn the other cheek. That means you face them.
Setting boundaries.
Face to face. Turn the other cheek. Face to face. I'm going to face you. Number two, the other thing that I hear a lot of people say that really annoys me as a Christian, as a Catholic, is, oh, Christ is going to come and make this all better. First of all, bitch, he already was here. He did everything he had to do. It's your turn now. It's your turn. Okay?
Yeah, he was already here. And not only that, if he were to come right now, how many people would actually listen to him? Let's be honest. Because the way this country is heading,
I don't think
we're not heading in a good place.
Now he'd be asking people to listen to him. I think he'd come like, this is it. You're going to fucking listen. Period.
Well, two things that I wanted to add was to Mel's point. Obviously, as Christian followers, we believe the truth is Jesus Christ, and I believe the truth is Jesus Christ because you look at Muhammad. There's a grave for Muhammad, there's a grave for Buddha, but there's no grave for Jesus Christ. Why? Because él está en los cielos.
Yeah, he's there. You're right.
Second point to that is when Jesus came back, resurrected on the third day after he was crucified. I mentioned this on the IG Live last night. He appeared to 500 people. Most of them, the majority were women. And back then, a woman's word meant caca. So he appeared to a majority of women. You know what those people had to go through because they saw the risen Messiah? They were brought before Caesar, and they were given two options. They were told, listen, you either believe Caesar is your king, or this Jesus. These people saw the risen Jesus alive. They had no choice but to say, my king is Jesus. You know what happened to them? Wait, but who's gonna die on a lie? Psychologically. Who's gonna die on a lie? Who's gonna die to protect a lie?
These question for you: who in this present day is willing to die for the truth? Because until that person stands up,
I want to
stands up, we are going to continue on this trajectory.
I want to say I want to die for the truth because if it means my kids understand the truth.
Yes, but again, not everyone thinks the way that we do. There are reasons as to why we do what we do. And it's also called persecution. Not a lot of people want that. They don't want to deal with that.
Let's bring it back to a political thing, right? So let's talk about Cuba. So a lot of shit happened in Cuba last year with the protests and everything else, right? And Cubans were able to get videos out, even though whatever, the internet was shut down, whatever, they were able to VPN that shit and get it out to their families in Miami so that, they can put it up on social media to show what was going on in Cuba, right? And it was horrible. These people got disappeared. A lot of people died. A lot of, the government came in and took them or whatever. It was all very tragic and whatever. So I'm talking to a friend of mine who lives in Miami. He's like, oh, did you see? I'm like, yeah, bro, but what difference does it fucking make? What difference does it fucking make? You're going to tell me there's 100 Cubans on the street and there's 4 fucking cops. 4 cops. That's it. Do the math. Yep. He's like, oh, but they have guns. I said, that's my point. 100 people can take those guns. And now you got 4 guns. Now you
no problem.
No guns. You got 4 guns. And now with those 4 guns, you could get more guns. That's how that shit works. But until somebody is willing to take a bullet, nothing is going to change. There has not been a revolution in the history of mankind, okay, or any type of takeover in the history of mankind that has been bloodless. That does not exist.
No.
It does not exist. And the reason that Americans specifically are so cowardly and shit is getting the way that it is here is because, number one, we still have free states. So people move. They don't have to deal with it. I could just move to Florida. That's cool. But what's going to happen when DeSantis runs? Florida's going to be gone. The next governor is going to undo all the shit that he did.
Yeah.
And Florida's going to be a lockdown state. So you're going to, right there, that's fucked up. And number 2, DeSantis is going to be compromised. Because when they reach the federal level, they're all compromised. The federal government is corrupt to the fucking core. It's corrupt to the core. I wish that people would get over the fucking fantasy of voting for a fucking POTUS that was already selected by the powerful. That's it. This whole fucking partisanship farce. Oh, I'm going to vote Republican or Democrat, whatever. Bitch, it's the same shit. It's one party. It's the party of power. It's not right versus left. It's top versus bottom. And the more power you give the top by consenting to this bullshit with your vote, the more power they're going to take. Period. Why should they respect you if you're stupid enough to still stand in line and fucking cast a vote? Fuck you. That's how they're thinking. That's how they're thinking. And can you blame them? I've known personally, I worked in politics for many years. I've known and I have seen people that have gone into office with nothing but the best intentions. the best intentions. They got into office on the federal level, whatever. They come back into their state, right, to do a town hall, to talk to their constituents, to explain the situation to them. And the fucking people did not want to hear it. They didn't want to hear it.
Yep, everybody has a price.
That's not why we put you in office.
Yep.
And the guy's trying to explain. This is the reality that I am dealing with in fucking Washington. And I need you guys to fucking help me out and we can get through this. And I'm trying to tell you how we're going to get through. Nah, that's not what we want. That's not what we want. And to the point that the guy's like, you know what? Fuck it. These people are ingrates. I'm telling them what's up. They don't want to fucking at least listen, right? So I'm going to benefit myself. I'm going to benefit my family. I'm going to do what everybody else here is doing, which is making that money. Because if the people are too stupid to fucking do what's best for their own interest, then fuck it. And that's the reality. On top of that, how many people they have to pay back for the contributions? On top of that, there's 500 people in the whole of Congress. You can't get anything. Even if you had, by some miracle, let's say a fucking miracle, you had 200 upstanding, noble, dignified people willing to step up and go through the rigmarole of the fucking vetting and the media going after you and your family getting harassed and all that. Let's say you had 200 people and they all got into office. That's not a majority. They still got to work with 300 other people who are not noble, 300 other people that they need their votes on for whatever else. And if you don't play along, then you don't get along. Oh, you wanted that factory in your state that was going to give 7,000 jobs? Well, guess what? You didn't sign my bill. I'm not signing yours. Period.
Vete pa'l carajo.
Government is untenable at this point. In my opinion, it is untenable. It is untenable. They all hide behind each other. Nobody's to blame for anything. Oh, it's all farts. It's all theater. Look, gerrymandering, and they're doing this. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit so that you and me can think that we actually have a choice, that we actually can affect anything. But it's a farce. It's a fucking farce.
You know what, Nadia? We were talking about this on Wednesday, where we said that there's people that out there that have to know what's going on, and they're pretty much arrogant and ignorant, and they don't want to know. They really don't want to do anything about it. And then there's other people that do know that there's something going on, but that their world will come down crashing all around them. So how do we make a difference? How do any of us, say, you know what, this is what's really happening, and this is what we do to stop it? What's the plan? What can we do?
I mean, what I'm involved in right now, in my opinion, which is the last legal option for Americans at this point, is a convention of states. I've made videos on it. There's a huge organization that is pushing for this. They're very well funded, and I'm going to go on a trip tomorrow, but when I come back, working with them and trying to get New York State onto this platform. Convention of States, I believe, is the last legal option to keep the federal government out of our lives. It has to happen. It's in the amendment. It has happened before. It's in the Constitution. It has happened before. And we have the ability to make this happen. But most people don't even know that that's an option. Most people don't understand how it would work. Most people, even if we got a convention of states, like, what are we going to vote on? What are some of the topics that people would like to bring up? These things aren't spoken about. Because this would completely threaten the power structure that is in this country right now. The power structure that is in this country is not an American power structure. They have no nationalism. They don't care. They just happen to be here, and this is where they're making their money, and they'd like to keep it that way. And that's fine, and that's cool. But for the American people, the vast majority of us, it is time to turn off the television, first of all. I'm sick and tired of it. Yeah. Turn off the TV, stop watching all that propaganda bullshit, and talk to your neighbors, organize, educate yourself, research shit, and get yourselves together. When I start doing this, what I hope and what I will do is to be able to talk other people through this process through my YouTube channel, right? and get everyone to like, this is what we're doing. I want you guys to see it. This is who you need to contact in your states so that you can help get this going. You know, because if this doesn't happen, or if something happens before, because like I read like a couple of days ago that China's now, they did their first digital currency, right? The yuan, I think it's called. And now, after like rolling it out for a year or two, now they're saying, okay, from now on, the yuan will expire at the end of the year. So if you were given 35,000 yuan, let's say dollars, right? That's what you make for your thing. If you don't spend the whole 35,000 by the end of the year, you start at zero the next year and you get another 35. You can't save your money. That way you'll never have money. You'll never have assets. You'll never have anything. You'll always be poor. You'll always be broke or middle class or whatever. And you'll never be a threat. Now, if that shit comes to the United States,
we're done.
People have fucking sacrificed to come here from other countries, have left their families behind here for a better life here. If that were to come here, it's a wrap.
It is a wrap.
It would be war.
Huh?
I said it would be war.
I think that it would come down to like a complete implosion. I can't see a day or a situation where an American would accept that. Nor should we.
No, we shouldn't.
Or someone, like you said, Nadia, someone coming here for the American dream that's left their culture behind, has come here, put all their chips into the American way of life, and then they say, you know what? That's not how we do things anymore. Oh yeah, motherfucker. They're gonna go rob, steal, and it's gonna be like
gonna be robbing or stealing. I don't think it's gonna be Americans turning against each other. I think it's gonna be the opposite. I think it's gonna be a unifying force. I think people that are not in the same social strata are gonna have a very, direct and very important topic and something that they both believe in, that they all believe in. And
it'll be like a truce for that moment that everybody's going to agree that this is something we do not want for this country.
And it might be something that's needed to get things right.
Yeah.
Bro, if you read history, this has all happened before. And
of course.
What has happened before is going to happen again. And I've been seeing this shit since 2008. And it's coming up. And I'm fine. Me personally, I'm fine with it because the way that I see it is that it has to happen. This is too out of control. The corruption is way too out of control. Everybody's getting away with a lot of bullshit. And it's enough. It's enough. And, nature abhors a vacuum and something else will come up better. It was a great experiment. It lasted for almost 300 years. Congratulations. Pero yeah. The favorite law in the Constitution was that Congress is able to make the laws that govern itself. That was the flaw that started this whole shit. Because there's no oversight on Congress. So, of course, how are you going to get them to pass laws that don't benefit themselves? That doesn't even make sense. They won't stand down. Why would they stand down? They have power. What are you going to do?
Being in Congress, it's a pretty good gig. They get a nice check.
Honestly, you could be tired from there.
All the benefits.
Forever.
But Nadia, you got to promise to come back to the show.
We didn't talk about other things that we were meant to.
Hey,
I know, but you know what?
Listen, we have to try to get you back somehow. You got to come back. I mean,
damn, where'd the 2 hours go? This is crazy.
I know. It was a pleasure. I don't know if you want to use this time to, plug yourself.
Yes.
So our followers can follow you and hear more about you.
Yes, absolutely. So, of course, I'm on YouTube, New York Nadia. That's where you're going to see all the videos. I'm also on TikTok, New York Nadia _official. TikTok's about to kick me out. Whatever. Anyway, Instagram, New York Nadia.
No, you no.
I know.
T-shirts. My do you see it yet? Video which got banned on YouTube is on my website at www.nynadia.com. You can see it there. And my merch is on everywhere, and you guys can see the rest. But thank you guys so much. It was a great pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure was ours.
I'm going to go to Madrid tomorrow. All fired up. Like, what?
Have fun.
Like, what? I'm going to go to Madrid. Like, I'm from New York. What?
Yo soy de Nueva York, coño.
No hago conmigo.
Oh, here comes the accent. La Newyorkina, la gringa.
Nice Cuba. Whatever. They're gonna see what's good. They're gonna see what's good. So if any of you hear this or whatever, you're in Spain while I'm there, you want me to come on a podcast or do anything, my pleasure. I'd be happy to do it.
She'll be a ball of fire.
Exactly. Well, you're definitely coming back. You're definitely coming back to Politics Plus podcast. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, we need another episode.
Yeah, we need to catch up. And there was a lot of things that we didn't get to talk to. And you could tell us about your trip in Madrid, and just, to catch up.
But also what you're working on, because I'm very interested in that.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I will be definitely letting you know about that, because we all got to pull together. We have to.
Oh, yeah.
Shit's going to hit the fan in a nasty way. But, whatever. If that's what has to happen, hey, I'm for it.
At this point, we all have to get ready for that bumpy ride.
All right, kill.
All right, guys. Love you. Thank you so much.
It's a wrap.